Perhaps we could call it Design by Death. It's Damian Farrell's Damian by Design on the Lucy Ann Land Show.
And it's Halloween.
Yes. And it's art for the spooky at heart.
Yes, it is.
We're going to meet a very interesting couple you have brought in today, Damian.
We're going to poke at dead things.
Morgana Grimm is the owner of Poking Dead Things. And she, along with her partner CJ Grimm, or Mr. Grimm as he's known.
Either will do.
You're the assistant, right?
Yeah, I handle it before it's ready to become something.
You're the collector of the macabre.
Yes.
You're in your element this morning.
Morgana, I think for people to understand what you do, perhaps for a radio show, you should be describing what you are wearing, your creation.
Well, today I have a large statement necklace on, and the focus is a rabbit skull, and then it is winged by some inlaid raccoon teeth and some squirrel claws, all done in silver antiqued.
Despite that description, it is a gorgeous piece.
It really is. Things sort of ascend in size or descend in size. The artistic arrangement is just stunning.
I remember years ago the jeweler Matthew Hoffman did similar work with dead objects.
With those beetles that were absolutely iridescent. And they were incredible the way they were set in gold.
A Southwest beetle or
something along those lines.
But this takes it to the nth degree.
This is a different, yeah.
How did you come to do this?
Well, I was always one of those outdoor kids, totally a tomboy. Always out playing in the creek with my cat, covered in mud, in my sundress, and my blonde pigtails.
There's a picture somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a picture somewhere. So being a hunter and a conservationist, also going through that, and then just really, I love everything nature, and I needed another hobby, so I thought I'd start making some jewelry again. My grandparents were jewelers. I'm a certified florist, so I love things that are designed that can be form and function. So we were out on a walk one time, came across this teeny tiny little cat skull next to a burrow. I'm like, that is so cool. Look how pretty that is. What can I do with that?
The first thing that comes to my mind. But you're a breed of a different sort, aren't you, Morgana?
I guess you could say that.
CJ, you said that you are there before the actual process of it being made, so
yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, let's see. How can I put this without getting too graphic? I handle the gooey bits.
And we must be clear. This is you're not killing anything.
Everything is ethically sourced, cruelty-free.
Which basically means it's roadkill.
It's right.
You're always going to think of us now that you see roadkill on the side of the road.
I'm going to give you a call. Are you kidding?
Actually, we have friends that do that.
Yeah.
Do they?
Oh, yeah, all the time. We've got this one couple that's called us a couple times, and from them, let's see, that was Tim that called us about the koi wolf, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A what?
Koi wolf.
Koi wolf.
Part coyote.
Wolf. Yeah,
Oh,
we
didn't know there
we were
was
just
such
learning
a-
about this before the show.
Really?
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Yeah.
And so it was there dead?
Yeah. I ran out and picked it up, and first things first, you always got to make sure you got a good tarp in your trunk, and rubber gloves in your glove box. That's what it's there for. Hand sanitizer.
Mm-hmm.
I would have said gas in my car.
Well, that's kind of secondary, I guess.
You have your emergency road kit. We have ours.
Yes. It's just always interesting when, you're picking something up and all of a sudden a car pulls up behind you because they don't know what you're doing.
They want to know what you're up to.
Oh, yeah. No, there was actually one time, our friend of ours that always gives us a call, he's like, hey, there's a deer on the side of the road over here, yada, yada, yada. So I'm like, okay, I'll go and pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not expecting too much. It's a heavily traveled road. But I go out there at dusk just to make sure that nobody's too curious about what I'm doing. And it's just after rush hour, so I'm keeping traffic to a minimum. I've got the tarp already laid out in my trunk. I've got my nice blue, thick rubber gloves, the ones that go way above your wrist.
Mm-hmm.
And I pull over on the side of the road, and I'm just driving a 09 Fusion. Mm-hmm. So here I am, trying to get this probably about 250, 300-pound buck in the trunk of my car by myself. I've got a bad shoulder already. And I've got half the deer in the trunk of my car, and I look in the back of my trunk and I'm like, that's interesting. Where are those flashing lights coming from?
Oh no, the police showed up.
Wait.
Oh, okay.
So I'm doing this in front of an industrial building. I'm immediately thinking, okay, this has got to be like their security or something like that. And I'm standing there and I don't know what to do. This is very awkward for me. Turns out it was the Washtenaw County Road Commission.
Oh.
They had gotten a call about that same deer and they were getting ready to take care of it.
Oh, were you going to duke it out with the road commissioner?
Absolutely not. He ended up helping me get it in my trunk.
Oh, he did?
He was happy for you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming. I mean,
Yeah, well, here he is. He pulls up. He's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "I'm okay. How are you?" "I'm good. What are you doing?" Well,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get
I
this
want to
deer
hear
in
this
my trunk.
explanation. Yeah.
What do you do with it? Well, me and my woman, we make jewelry out of, bones. Oh, that sounds interesting. We got another deer on the other side of the road. And I'm looking at this, huge deer that's taking up the trunk of my car, and it's like, I love her so much, but not that much.
Damian is an architect, and this design show, you're taking it to new heights today. What do you think about this?
I'm fascinated by it. Let's talk design.
Yes.
Okay, so you see this cat. What happened from there? Obviously you're very creative, clearly, as well. Just the form and shape and the way you assemble things you have a terrific eye. There's no doubt about it. Everything is very balanced and composed, and nature is imperfect. I know we were talking about that before the show. But on the other hand, it's also often very symmetrical, even if there are imperfections. All right. So how did this go from there?
Well, I think that you really touched on it there, because I love the organic shapes of the bones,
Yes.
yet the symmetry and the geometry of it, and it's really got to come to me. So I might sit and look at a piece, a skull or a rib bone or something for a long time until something finally comes to mind, because I like to put very man-made type shapes, architectural type shapes, with the very organic. And that's even with the crystals sometimes I use.
Okay.
Some of them are very sharp-edged, some of them are very rounded, but having that nice balance of organic flow with structured geometry. But each piece is completely different. I never know what's going to come out of it. And I do home decor too, so I'm getting into a lot of that. I'm going to be working on a light fixture, like a
Oh, wow.
a big ceiling fixture.
What would that look like in your mind?
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm sure everybody's at least somewhat familiar with, like, hunting lodge. There might be antlers making a chandelier or something along those lines.
Oh, yeah.
Not quite that. I'll have to see what kind of bones that I have to work with, but it'll probably have to do with ribs and the curved shape of them to make something kind of modern looking where it doesn't necessarily look like bones. But it's pulling that shape together. It's like with the jewelry from a distance, I try for it not to necessarily look like something creepy. It looks like an interesting piece of jewelry. You get closer and you're like, oh, wait a minute, what is
What
that?
is that?
Exactly.
And it becomes a conversation piece.
It's the surprise factor.
Yeah.
And also, from what I'm gathering from our pre-show chat, the treatment of the bones and the pieces you work with, that's very elaborate.
Oh,
as
very
well,
much so.
and something that has to be done very carefully.
It can take upwards of 6 months before I can actually work with something.
Okay.
Because of course we bring it home while it's still gooey,
Yeah.
and we try to take as much as we can off of it. Then it goes into some shallow pits that we have dug, and we use pits because it allows the natural elements to get into it,
Okay.
but it keeps the smell down, so it keeps it kind of in that pit, and then it's covered. And after that, we end up doing an archaeological dig to find all of these bones and put them through different, like, organic washes.
I'm just glad
Clean
we
them a
started
little
using
more.
the netting,
Yes.
or the wire screens. That's going
Much
to make our
easier
lives a
to pull them
lot
out.
easier.
And then once they're cleaned up, we have to put them through a dehydrator, and it has to be just the right temperature, because otherwise you can crack the bones.
Okay.
And they sit in there for a while, and then they're buffed, sanded, and clear coated with a combination of floral and jewelry resins, so it's
Right.
like 50 coats of lacquer. So they become less porous, and it strengthens them quite a bit. Gives them a nice shine too.
How
Yeah.
that looks very delicate. The skull that you have hanging from that necklace. Is it hard?
It's
It
really
is.
sturdy, yeah. And it's from the coating that I use, because I coat the inside as well.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost like wrapping it in clear stone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm allergic to metal too, so I coat a lot of my vintage pieces with the same stuff,
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't change color.
Okay.
And I like to use a lot of the vintage costume jewelry too. I'll go out and look for it, and
Okay.
I'll deconstruct it. So again, it's making the old and forgotten into something new and interesting.
Wait, just by putting that coating on there, you can prevent metals from changing to colors?
Yeah.
That
And,
you don't
and
want?
I'm assuming the allergy is a skin allergy of some
Yeah,
sort,
skin
obviously.
allergy. So I'm allergic to nickel.
Nickel. My
Really
mother
allergic.
was as
Oh,
well,
okay.
so I
Yeah,
was
it's very
familiar with it.
common.
I didn't realize just by putting that on that would prevent that.
Yeah, you just have to keep your skin from touching the metal,
Huh.
because it's a pH contrast.
Okay. You see, and I've got this image here
Mhm.
from a piece that Morgana has done, which is one of those polystyrene head forms, you know, they use them for putting hats on and so on, with a red rose crown, really, with antlers
Let's see.
coming out of it. And it's just, it's exquisite.
Oh, it is beautiful. It looks like a hat.
Yeah, it's a crown. It's
Oh,
just
so
a
the
big
whole thing is a
headdress.
crown.
Yes.
Okay, there's a
Where,
headdress.
where would you wear that?
Actually, that was a commissioned piece. So it was a large event that her and her dance troupe were working on for
my
Halloween.
Gosh, is that beautiful?
So it's
Are those
definitely a
roses or
statement piece.
what are
Yeah,
those?
they are silk roses.
Silk roses. They look
Along with
real.
a few other varieties. Like I said, I'm a certified florist,
Right.
so I know how to appropriately attach everything.
Wow.
So that, you could probably actually throw that across the room and it'd be fine.
I think there's a picture of CJ with a similar sort of crown on.
Yeah,
Oh,
the one
yeah.
with the bones. yeah.
Boar's bones or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's this one of you
Yes,
as
that
well,
was
which is stunning.
the Queen of the Forest crown. It was
That's
a set
gorgeous.
that I was
It's
commissioned
like
for.
something that would end up in Macbeth.
I know, right?
You know, perfect,
Do you
right?
do things for theatrical groups or any kind of Hollywood
I have people
movies?
contact me for stuff. I mean, I've only been doing Poking Dead things for actually a year. October is the anniversary.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I never thought anybody would like the stuff that I made. I made it for myself. And a friend convinced me to go out and do some stuff, and I sold out.
you're selling on
Wow.
Etsy, right?
Yes, I do have an Etsy page. I don't put a whole lot of stuff on there, but you do need to have a definite presence online in order to get into a lot of shows. And I like to vend and have that face-to-face with people so I can explain the background of how this came to be.
If you go to Etsy.com and you do a search for Poking Dead Things, her page comes up and you can see what we're talking about here. Our guest is Morgana Grimm and her partner CJ Grimm. She is the owner of Poking Dead Things. This is Farrell's Damian design on the Lucy Ann Lance show each week. I have in my hand Damian's studio manager and the producer of this segment each week, Erin McNear. These are her earrings. You made these.
Oh, yes, those are made out of boar teeth.
They're just beautiful. There's one tooth in each side of earring, and they're just absolutely beautiful. She wore them the other week, and we're admiring them here on the show, and come to find out, you made these. I didn't know these were teeth, though.
Oh, yeah, they're simple, but they have such an interesting form, and you can tell that only a very small portion of them were actually exposed. So it's kind of like,
Right.
like an iceberg.
Yeah.
And teeth are just so interesting, because those came from a boar, wild boar from down south.
Oh, I was
And
going to ask,
all the
okay, that
teeth
would
are
make
so
sense.
different, yeah,
Right.
because, they have the big tusks,
Right.
true, but their back
Mhm.
teeth look even more interesting. Deer teeth are just bizarre looking.
Yeah.
And goat teeth, the roots they look like old trees. So they're all different. And then you don't really need to do a lot to them.
Mm-hmm.
They're just so unique.
Hmm.
So teeth are fun to work with.
You know, CJ detailed encountering the visit by the Road Commission. What about just law enforcement in general? Is it legal to take dead animals and process them the way you are and create jewelry out of them?
Well, one of the reasons that I had waited until last year is, I think it was last summer,
I think it was.
spring, or
Are you
the
talking about
year
that while it got
before.
passed?
Yeah,
I think that was 2 years ago.
a law had passed making it legal for you to pick up roadkill, because previously it was not legal. You needed a tag before you could
I
take it.
remember that. Okay.
So regardless of if you hit a deer, you could not take that deer unless you had a tag for it.
Mhm.
Okay.
So with that new law that has passed, I've been able to get enough supplies to actually make stuff to actually put it out there, instead of just the few little things that I find.
Mm-hmm.
And I am working on getting my taxidermy license, and going through all of that to make sure that what I'm using, it's legal for me to have. Sometimes I need to keep record of where it came from and what county, which of course any hunter is going to understand the basis behind that. But yes, it's legal for us to do this now. Birds are the only thing that I really prefer not to work with because about 99% of them are protected.
Oh.
You can only use
I
the
would have thought,
invasive species.
I would have thought their bones were too small and would break easily when you were processing them.
They are very difficult, but that's why I use that special coating, because it'll actually make them more solid, and I can get it into the bone.
What do your pieces retail for?
I have pieces as low as $5. I have the crowns that start at about $150. It's really just depending on what it is. Average piece is around $20-25.
Oh.
I like to keep my prices low because this is my hobby. I enjoy doing this. I'm not trying to make a living off of it. I have a day job. I work a 40 just like everybody else.
I love some of the shell pieces too. We hadn't talked about.
Oh, the Mermaid Collection?
Yeah,
Those are
that's
beautiful.
beautiful as well. Yeah.
Seashells?
Yeah. So I work with not just bones. I use seashells. I use dried plants, stones, anything that we happen to find. Those little
Fungus.
things in nature that just catch your eye if you stopped and look for a second.
You're extremely artistic. Where did this start for you? You mentioned your grandparents were
Yep.
certified jewelers, but where in your background do you recall?
I've always been that art-oriented kid. I've always made stuff. I was an only child. I wasn't raised in front of the TV. It was let's go outside and play. Always making stuff, whether it be, you know, just putting buttons together when I was little. Always making jewelry, actually, now that I think about it, with my mom, out of mixed media. And then always being that nature kid and stopping and slowing down and looking at these things. I think that's really where it comes from. Because
And
I want
how
other
they can
people to
fit
see what I
together.
see,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Are your grandparents still alive?
Grandma is.
And has she seen your work?
Yeah, she loves it.
She loves it? Well,
She loves it. She's like, people buy this?
No, doesn't she still want to come and work in your workshop?
She wants to work in my studio.
Oh.
She's
Oh, that's
96,
wonderful.
97 years old. She's
Wow.
legally blind.
Oh.
She's just adorable as can be, and she just wants to come and help in the studio.
Yeah, she's adorable until she tries to run you over with her walker.
Yep. She's feisty. All the women in my family are feisty.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the market where you sell. I mean, obviously what you've discovered is that there are a lot of people who enjoy this kind of art. Are there, what other kinds of art are like this that we haven't thought about or talked about?
Other
When
kinds
things that have struck you when you've, because obviously you're attending conventions now from what I'm gathering.
Yep.
What else is out there in this?
please tell me you can't use human bones.
It's perfectly legal. Everybody thinks that it's not. I actually have a human skull that was in my dad's collection. He was a medical doctor,
Well,
so
that's
it was in
certainly-
his office.
That answers my question, certainly,
Yep.
yeah.
So I take a human skull with me.
Would you?
Barbara.
Her name is Barbara.
Oh.
She travels. Also,
Yeah.
I like to use these big skulls to help educate kids, because sometimes I go to events where there's kids, so they can actually touch these things.
Oh, they love the gator.
But Barbara used to go with me to second grade show and tell. My show and tells were amazing.
Do you use human bones in any of your jewelry?
They're really expensive, so unless
Oh.
somebody commissions something, I don't. It's not something I keep in stock.
It's
not like I have a closet
Little drawer
using those.
with middle finger bones, yeah.
I'm shocked it's legal.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
They were used for teaching, so that's how my father came across that
Right.
one skull, because that's what he was involved in. Well, they don't use those for teaching in school anymore, so those have pretty much disappeared. Now they use the plastic ones and have for years,
Yeah.
which those are just as interesting, but
Well, they're
it's just
completely
they're-
correct.
Yeah,
So,
they're just so
they got
hard to
microphone.
come across, and the ones that were used for teaching were properly sealed as well, because human remains are generally hazmat.
Mhm.
That's why I don't think you're supposed to like spread human ashes, but everybody kind of
Everyone
does.
does.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's one of those like, I don't think you're supposed to,
but you do anyway.
so just don't get caught doing it kind of thing.
I'm looking at a picture here of goat's teeth as well. I see what you mean by them being rather bizarre.
Yeah, like tree roots.
They are like tree roots, yes.
But they're
Very much so.
fascinating, aren't they? Because
Yeah.
the top is very like clean cut, almost looks like a cut geode of some sort with all the rings, very sharp sides, to this very organic, like tree root system.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fascinating.
It really is. I never knew
Mhm.
until
So-
I saw it on you.
And you're going to have to pardon me on this one, but you're into it a year. It sounds like you're just scratching the surface.
Oh.
But where to from here? I mean, what's ahead? What do you imagine? What do you think about? This is. I mean, to me, it seems endless. And
It really is. I really don't feel like I'm limited except for my time and my construction space. We might end up making a pole barn for me to work in because,
We're gonna need to.
yeah, I do.
The garage is gone.
Yes, I do know how to refinish furniture as well, so I'd like to get into that using perhaps some of the larger bones. We have some buffalo that might be coming in soon.
That'd be
As
awesome.
like armrests and doing
Okay.
some really
Oh, wow.
fantastical type different coverings and fabrics.
I still want a macabre throne.
I want to make stuff bigger.
I'm starting to wonder about CJ. You I understand.
You get me.
Yeah, I do.
There's not really a whole lot to wonder about me. I'm not that weird.
Do you foresee having a retail store?
Actually, I've been looking in the Depot Town area, downtown Depot Town, near
Uh-huh.
the tracks.
Uh-huh.
I really, really like that area. I have a friend who has her shop down there,
Mm-hmm.
and I've done some pop-up shops in her retail location. I've done the Ipsy First Fridays art crawl. That was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I met so many wonderful people down there.
It fits right into the whole art culture that's going on in Ypsilanti, I
It's
think.
different.
well, it's so diverse.
unique.
That's great.
It's a destination location,
Right.
and I'd
You know, I
love
think-
to be a part of it.
I mean, all of this art, it needs to stretch people. People need to be exposed, I think, to more
Oh,
and
they're
more.
being
of-
exposed
yeah.
all right. Something's being exposed.
And you'd be surprised, like the clientele that I get. A lot of people, they're not super alternative, like,
Mhm.
you know, we kind of look with the bright hair and the piercings and
Mhm.
the tattoos. I had one woman who fell in love with one of the rosaries that I had made out of bone. She collects rosaries.
Really?
Oh.
She did not find it creepy in any way, shape, or form. She
Oh.
was so ecstatic to have found something so well done, she had to have it for her collection.
Oh, how wonderful.
So I make all
I
kinds
wouldn't
of
have
different stuff.
anticipated you making a rosary.
I was going to say,
out of
what
it.
took you to a rosary?
I just love the shape, and
Okay.
So for
Sure.
you, it's all about
Beautiful.
shapes.
I love the
and-
shapes.
And the way things go together.
form.
It's
Yeah,
strung
how
together.
it looks, and
Yeah.
well, my father was a minister, and his dad's a Catholic deacon,
Yeah.
Okay.
so we are around those shapes a lot.
And my mom's 100% Mexican, so there were rosaries everywhere growing up.
But they're beautiful, the shapes and
They
the
are.
different beading and how it all comes together.
It's true, they are. They, I think, are often strived as to be a work of art.
Mhm.
The
Damien,
way
so
they're
many
assembled.
of us are on just the mundane path of our lives,
We
and,
are, aren't
and
we?
it's just what is being fed to us as to what we wear, how we do things. And these two here really think outside the box, and they see things that we don't see
Yeah.
in the forms they find, and that truly, I mean, it really is a design creation that comes from some inner source.
Mhm.
I think you two are really.
Well, you think of
interesting.
so many of the artists, painters and sculptors who are influenced by natural and organic forms. It's just that their translation ends up in a different manner. This is so direct. That's what I like about it. It's immediate. It's this bone is left from this, and it becomes a piece of art.
Mhm.
It's just. I don't mean to make it sound simple, but that
It is.
Yeah, it really is.
I realize the assembly of it is not simple by any means, but I love that directness,
Mhm.
and that's so refreshing. You know,
But what she does with them,
I know that's
Nature is a
again. I'm
beautiful
flipping through
architect.
pictures.
that's
I'm,
true.
I just embellish a little.
You know, it's so true. The way you combine shells and bones and these skulls, and they look so delicate. Yet, as you pointed out, the one that you're wearing right now is tough. I mean, it's resilient.
Yes, they're made to last. I'm tough on my stuff, and
Right.
I
Yeah.
usually will wear each piece I make for an entire day of work and
Yeah.
make sure that there are no flaws in the design, that
Yeah.
I'm not going to break it.
That really is some of the toughest
yeah.
stress testing ever.
Yeah,
So what are you doing tonight for Halloween?
Bonfire.
yeah, going to do a bonfire, hang out on the property, celebrate the 1-year anniversary, amongst other things, celebrate
Congratulations.
fall.
And I'm
So-
dressing up as Uncle Sam. I really am. I have my red, white, and blue belt on and my hat in the car. I feel so dull and mundane.
Oh, I can suggest you wear a piece of her jewelry, and that'll really cause people to talk.
I do tie tacks and cufflinks.
Check her out. Her company's called Poking Dead Things. She is an artist like none other you've ever seen. Her name is Morgana Grimm, and her partner CJ Grimm. Together, they create the most unusual jewelry you will ever see. Thank you so much, and happy
Thank you.
Halloween.
Happy
Happy Halloween, and I wish you guys every success. I think this is so exciting to see this.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
It's very different. That's the key.
That's it. We want to stretch, right?
Doing something
It's
no
part of
one
our
else is
job.
doing.
Yeah.
Damian Farrell from Damian Farrell Design Group. You can visit dfdgonline.com for his company. Also, don't forget about our YouTube. We've got
Yes.
the videos of Damian by Design on there as well. And we'd like to thank Aaron McNear, the producer of this segment here on the Lucy Ann Land Show, along with our guests today, Morgana and CJ Grimm. And go on Etsy.com, look for Poking Dead Things. But what they do with them, well,
Yes.
it's pretty indescribable, actually, and beautiful.
May the wind blow through the mystery.
This is Ann Arbor's Talk Station, 1290 WLBY. That was good, thank you. Oh, you guys are a great interview, I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.